In California, the devastating drought is sparking a new round of debate over fracking. At issue are the millions of gallons of water fracking uses up. Jennifer London is in Los Angeles with the second of her three-part series. Jennifer.
Paul, California is the nation's fourth largest producer of oil and natural gas, and fracking is becoming increasingly important in the state, especially in the Central Valley, which also happens to be the nation's breadbasket. But as California struggles through the worst drought on record, fracking and farming are on a collision course.
From up here, I not only see my own orchard, I see the mountains on three sides.
And just beyond the almond farm that's been in Tom Franz's family for 4 generations, there's something else.
Today, there is fracking going on about 4 miles this way, about 3 miles to the east over here, about 7 miles to the north, and about 6 miles to the west.
So you're basically surrounded by oil fields where fracking is happening.
We're surrounded, and this is new. We've been invaded here.
Kern County is ag and oil country in California. More than 80% of the state's oil and gas is produced here. About 600 new wells are fracked each year, using millions of gallons of water. Water that farmers say they need to irrigate their crops.
These trees will die if they go about 2 months without water.
France is also uneasy about possible leaks and spills that could contaminate what little groundwater is left. In 2012, he videotaped the illegal dumping of fracking wastewater into an unlined pit near his orchard.
As a farmer, I know, and I've seen what's happened in this area, that whatever chemicals we've used on the surface, a lot of those chemicals have made their way into our groundwater already.
Almond farming is an $11 billion industry in California's Central Valley, and every single almond is dependent on what's in the soil and what's in the water that's used to grow the trees. If the water and soil are contaminated, so are the almonds.
This summer, the state shut down 9 disposal wells in Kern County for illegally dumping almost 3 billion gallons of industry wastewater. Jason Marshall is the chief deputy director of the state agency in charge of regulating the oil and gas industry in California.
Who is protecting the people of California to make sure that their groundwater isn't being contaminated?
There's a multitude of agencies that are looking out for that because there's a multitude of jurisdictions.
One of those agencies is the California Water Resources Control Board in Sacramento. John Borkovich heads groundwater monitoring and assessment.
John, is big oil poisoning millions of gallons of water each day?
So you're asking me to give you a yes or no answer on something that I don't know. So I think the right answer would be that I don't know.
Do you think you should know the answer to that question? Because I think a lot of people are asking that question. I think a lot of Californians are saying, wait, fracking is happening and we're worried about toxic water and where that water's going.
That's a reasonable concern that people have. I mean, as a resident of California, you should be.
Back on the farm with Tom Franz, he says when it comes to farming versus fracking, it's not a fair fight.
Tom, do you think farmers have a friend in Sacramento? Who's watching out for you?
Big ag has always had friends in Sacramento, but when it goes against big oil, the whole game changes. They're more powerful. Oil has always gotten their way.
For farmers in Kern County, the old saying, oil and water don't mix, has taken on new meaning.
And it's important to note that farming is also incredibly water intensive. Almond farming, for example, uses about 10% of California's total water supply for the year, and almonds aren't even the most water intensive crop. That being said, the farmers are really more concerned about the contamination of underground aquifers. And Paul, tomorrow in the third part on our fracking series, we take viewers back to Shafter, California, and we introduce them to a father who says fracking is making his daughter sick.
Wow, great reporting from Jennifer London. That's right. Tomorrow we'll get the third part of Jennifer's look, children who live near fracking wells and why so many of them are minorities.